All right, lads and lasses, welcome along. Topman's Tuesday. Do you know, honestly, some of the days going through life and I think to myself, what on earth am I doing? Do I get paid for this? At some point I must do, but, who knows? Right, if major topic, right? You're always going to come across if statements. You got to do, right? Everyone's saying, I need to do an if statement. I've got an if this, then that. Oh, what about if, if I ask her out, will she go out with us? If I don't ask her out, so many things, right? Ifs and buts are everywhere, eh? Power BI and if. Oh, it's a topic and a half, isn't it, right? So to start with, if, it's a simple function, right? Three components to it, right? You got your logical test you got to put in. What are you doing? Compare something. Tell us if this values go over 500, under 500. Is A plus B greater than C? Whatever you want to do, aye? Right? If. Logical statement first, yeah? Logical test, right? If that comes back as true, return something. If it comes back as false, return something else. Not rocket science. Not rocket science at all, right? But this is Power BI we're talking about, isn't it? Nothing's ever straightforward in Power BI, right? For all I love it to pieces, some of the things it does just kind of like, huh? Right? Hopefully today you'll have your moment too, right? So Power BI, how does it handle if statements? Dead simple. To start with, we run everything. Let's find out what the statement would be, or the result of the statement would be. Let's find out what the true result would be, and let's find out what the false result will be. And then I tell you what we should do. Let's check the logical test again. So we'll run the logical test. Is it true? Is it false? Ah, it is true, you say. So tell you what, let's now run true and false, and then return true. This makes sense to me. So basically, that's kind of how that meeting went down. Power BI, it does a lot of things. The way it handles ifs is just kind of like, all right. So it's a really great example of one of the reasons why you need to get comfortable with using variables, which is the reason of the video, of course. Yeah. Ifs and buts and coconuts and variables. So, variables, you see. Now, I've never used variables in my life because I come from Excel, right? There's lots of people out there in that position. Honestly, don't worry. Variables in Power BI are not something to be scared of. We're going through, do an if statement, right? I'm not going to be able to show you all the ins and outs of if statements with any of the data sets that I want to go through today, right? I mean, I guess I do have some really big ones, but ta-da! Right? But, so let's go in, have a look, see, right? And you'd be like, and then you'd be like, oh, I know, this is good. Okay, so yeah, should we give it a go? Hey, champion, eh? All right, so here we are, back where the food's at, innit? Right? Newcastle food hygiene ratings. It's a great data set. It just keeps on giving. But I love it. So, what's the nice thing we can do here, right? Let what's going on. Tell you what, let's go to this ugly thing. Let's crack on. Get into me face, eh? So, moving on from here, you'll see we've got some other things in the data set. So if we actually look at the table of data, you'll see we've got hygiene, structural, and confidence in management. So these are like support or additional areas that are in there. Now, when I look at them, if we were to say, right, let's see. Let's have a look. Tell you what, let's sort this descending. All right, so we've got the higher numbers first, right? And we can see, here we've got, these are pretty low scores, the higher ratings. So clearly, if you've got high ratings in these, that's a bad thing, isn't it? Right? That's a bad thing. That's a problem, right? So what we could probably want to say is, right, tell you what, identify everything that's like over 10 in all three. Or we might say, I tell you what, what's got, let's say, over 15. Yeah, should we do an over 15 in any of them? So with a new measure, right? Expand that down a bit, yeah. So over 15 equals if. Right? Now, Power BI, there's no row context here. So we need to allow, it's going to be, a row context is going to be passed into it. So what it means is I couldn't put in, like, establishment, detail, hygiene. That's just having none of it, is it? Right? So what I need to do is give it a context that's going to make it a scalar value instead of being a column. Right? That's what it's trying to handle at the minute. See, there's a column of values made. And it's going, I can't handle a column. I need one value to do an evaluation of. Right? So what we'll do is we'll do this one. Right? First non-blank is one of those that you just get used to. And honestly, I use it so much now. I can't even explain why. Let's see, well, that's greater than 15. I tell you what, greater than or equal to 15. Right? Or. So what's or? Right? Now, Power BI has an or function. It also has an and function. Right? Don't use them ever. Would be kind of my advice, right? An or, double pipe. If you want to do an and, double ampersand, right? If you use the functions that are there, you're stuck and you have to provide two values or two logical tests to kind of do true or false, right? And it's only two. So for this, where we want to do 3, it wouldn't work. So kind of just get used to the habit. I just do, you know. First non-blank, honestly, IntelliSense is such a blessing. I've been able to talk through most of this and it's just carried on. Confidence in management 0, close brackets, greater than or equal to 15. Yeah. So I've got me 3 clauses in there, right? So it's going to go away and evaluate them. Next thing we need to do, right? What's we're true? Let us say 1 and we're false is 0. Right? So I've got a nice function written there. That's now too difficult. I've written me measure. Okay? Easy peasy, lemon squeezy, as might say. So that was gone. Grab a new page and let's crack on from there. So the first thing I need, let's put in our business names. That's going to be critical. That's going to give a context, isn't it? Otherwise, if you put me over 15 in here, it's going to be zeros. Click here, be finding some ones. But if I just pull me over 15 into here, there's an out because there's no context to it, right? It's one of them things. Be aware of that. Put it in there. Let's put it as a table. See, 0. So I'm 0 because 0. None of the ones that came back as the first option were over 15, so it's 0. Be aware, right? Power BI measures the portable, stuff like that, but you can still mess it up. Over 15. That's brilliant, that. Do that. So I could go back to me as your maps. I could go here and I could say filter on the page over 15. So filter on the page over 15. Oh, do filter on the. It's going to be silly, isn't it? Right here. Is 1. So now I can see. Here's where my problem restaurants are and my problem areas. Yeah? Brilliant, that, isn't it? Oh, perfect, that. That's great, that. Who's that? Who's that? No way. Right. Anyway, right? So, you can see, it's all good. It's all in the hood. You can kind of see now where I live. Terrible, shocking. I didn't really live there. Oh, yeah. Right? So, this works, right? Dead easy, dead simple. Let's drop that back out of here. Head out to a new page, right? So I've got 1 there, right? Now, I was talking to you and saying the way this evaluates is pretty weird, right? So let's see if I can show you proof that it's weird. Variables is what you need to be using. So let's start by copying this. So Control A, Control C, put a new one in, new measure, Control V, right? Over 15, variable. Okay. How to do variables, you say, right? So VAR, hey, T1 equals. That's simple. So what's T1? It's going to be this, isn't it? I'm going to cut that, T1, paste that. Okay. So that's all I need to do. But we'll carry on, we'll do the rest, yeah? So T2 equals, VAR, isn't it? VAR, T2 equals VAR, T3 equals Control X, T2. Oh, did I tell you? Let's put that in there. There we go. And that's going to be T3. Okay. So all of a sudden, right, I've shuffled that around and we've got the variables. So what's that going to do? What does that mean? What it means is it's going to find out, well, what is that value for hygiene? What is that structural value? What's the confidence in management like? It's going to return those values as integers, and then it's never going to go and check them again. Now, for a first non-blank, that's not too difficult. But if you were doing it as like, well, if the sum of sum of table, whatever, is over 60, and the this is that, right? You can imagine you're constantly reevaluating that each and every time you do that. With this, we're not going to see much of a difference in terms of the duration for the query execution. But if you started to get into full-on calculates with it, which you do, which you do, right? You'll find that learning to use variables and getting comfortable with them is the only thing you can do if you're going to carry on working with Power BI, right? So we've done this, built that, that was hit return, and all that. So that's now built. So I've got me over 15 with variables. And I can drop that in here, and you see it works. So let's drop that out. Tell you what, let's try it. See if it's going to show you any difference if we go into the view, the performance analyzer, start recording, refresh the visuals. Oh, there is a slight difference. Very minor difference. But there is a slight one. Oh, hey. DAX on that one was 14 thousandths of a second, 14 milliseconds. That was 15. Refresh the visuals again. It's a lot closer this time. Tell you what, let's clear the cache. Start recording. Refresh the visuals. I mean, it's not huge, right? I'm not looking at it going like, oh, well, he's really showing the difference here. But, you know, with the basics that we've got, we are seeing a minor difference, right? You can't sort of say, oh, come on, man. You know, I mean, I'm not clutching at straws quite yet, but, you know, we're getting there, you know, 8. So it's close. I mean, it's not like, didn't clear the cache, did it? I need to clear the cache fully. So we're kind of getting to the point where, you know, even with this really basic example, there's a difference, right? If you imagine if you had a more complex if statement, having it run that way is going to really impact it. So being able to know that, oh, I can use variables is a big difference. Power BI variables as well, you're not restricted to scalar values. So if you need to do like a filter on a table and then use that within your if statement, for example, a variable can be a table. So you could do your variable, which would be the table that was filtered. That's one variable. So it's going to calculate that table once. and then use that table again and again within it. Now there's trade-offs. I mean, effectively what you're doing is we're kind of booking memory for when this is run. I'm going to run this, book that memory, right, there we go, which makes it more efficient, not using the CPU so much. There is a trade-off though, because you've preloaded it with these are the values, you've got to kind of be aware that they're not going to change unless you're rerunning the full calculation or the full measure evaluation. So there's stuff in there to be kind of like, oh, I've got to think through it. But the main thing is, that's the syntax for a variable, yeah, or for using variables. Declare them at the beginning. Let's try that one out. Declare them at the beginning. So VAR, give them any name. Some names are reserved and it'll just come back with an error. I think I can show you, I think it's a day. I'm feeling day is one. Oh, maybe not. Some are reserved. Number. No. It's going to be one of them days now, isn't it? Text. There you go. Text. Reserved. Right? Error. Okay. As you can see, once you get used to it, you kind of get used to being able to pick them out, So test 1, test 2, test 3, whatever you need to do, it works, right? The point is that you can manage this, you can run it yourself, you can carry on, and you can make a lot more complicated things logical. The best thing is it with using variables is if at any point you need to understand what's going on, it's easy. You can return that variable. So if I turned around and said, I tell you what, I'm really confused now. I don't know what's going on with this stuff. I could say, return T1. And then all it would be returned here would be the T1 values. So I've not had to worry and think through. I go, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. Right? And you can comment out the rest of the measure rather than deleting it like I've just done. But it really helps to make sure that it's all working for you properly. So, have a think. Hope you enjoy that. All right. What are you doing? Yeah? Do you understand? Huh? So, variables, they're really useful. You need to learn how to get your head around variables, how to write them, how to put them in, when best to use them. Okay, they are one of them things that's really going to make all the difference to your DAX. And as you're moving forward and as your reports are getting bigger and you're getting a bit cleverer with your DAX, and I'm like, I'm on the upward curve again now, boss. And now what I'm doing. Part of that's going to be learning how to use variables. So in terms of efficiencies in DAX and all that sort of stuff, variables are a big part of it. So learning to use them, learning when to apply them, how to get comfortable with them, how to debug them. Honestly, that debug capability that they give you, huge, right? And remember, if it's really important, but my goodness me, I don't know what was going on in that meeting when they went, oh, this is how to do if. It just does not make any sense when you go, You evaluate true and false. You do the whole thing at the beginning and then you check. So if we can work out beforehand and put them in as variables, right, it really speeds everything up, especially once you get the more complicated variables like sums, and especially if the sum of this is less than the sum of that. And, if you've got two variables that are returning two integers, much quicker. So anyway, tell you what, we've got a new data set coming on Friday. It's going to be a cracker, right? It is looking amazing. Even if I say something, of course I'm going to say it's amazing. I'm not going to say, do you know what? On Friday, it's really terrible. I wouldn't bother if I was you. I am me, and I'm going to be bothering because I'm going to be doing it. But I enjoy this. I love what I'm doing. I hope you love it too. Always let us know. Like and subscribe. Don't forget down below. Like and subscribe. Right? Help keep the channel going. And of course, got Geordie Consulting as well if you want to get, the serious head of me in, turn up suit and tie now, All right, boss, how's it going? How we can do to help you? I'm not from Manchester, obviously, but Anyway, Take care. Have a good one. We'll catch us on Friday. Ta-da.